Hey guys, Dom here, back again with another
No, cut that shit, man. We don't make that type of shit anymore, man. That's why no more reading from boring little news articles or pre-buying over jobs listings.
Check this out.
Come fucking hard.
Now, since my absence from YouTube, a lot of you have seemed to unsubscribe. Reintroductions may be in order. So, hi, my name is Dom, short for Dominic, aka JustDom, aka the biggest BGS stan.
Yes, I was in the chess club.
We love you.
Degenerates.
So, you may have already noticed that this brand new content is going to be more original, more spicy.
You teasing me?
Oh my god, what better way to start this brand new content than diving into the amazing, the inspiring Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Okay.
A game that is so expansive and so wide and yet still undiscovered that there are still mysteries hidden within the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim till this very day. And this is why Bethesda Game Studios games are just so unique within the industry, because Bethesda take the time to appreciate all the little details, much like all of my ex-lovers who have also taken the time to appreciate the little But I know over the recent years there have been some gaming edgelords online that like to diss Skyrim and say, oh, it ain't all that. Well, for those type of people, I have a very nice and polite poem for you guys. So, roses are red, violets are blue. Talk shit on Skyrim, then
Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
But before we begin, I know there are going to be a select few out there that are screaming, Dom!
I want Fallout! Give me Fallout!
To which, of course, yes, I'm going to be making Fallout 4 content, Fallout 3 content, but no 76, because that game has
16 times the...
Now that that's out of the way, we can start from the very beginning as we travel to one of Skyrim's, shall we say, more vulgar and uncivilized cities, Riften. This rundown/traditional fisherman's town may seem quite quaint and beautiful on the outside, but do not be fooled, as appearances especially here can be deceiving, as Riften is no stranger to the burdens of corruption and influence, as the blood, sweat and tears that flow throughout these hallowed streets are all funneled back into the Blackbriar family, a family so influential that they even have the Jarl in their back pockets. This has left a large portion of the less fortunate residents to sleep and frequent many of the city's more undesirable areas, taking advantage of the canal systems and dimly lit alleyways that surround the cityscape to prey on incoming travelers and more wealthier citizens and prompt them to kindly
Okay.
But even amongst all of the thievery and corruption that Riften has to offer, hiding within the seedy underbelly of this already damaged exterior lies the answer to one of Skyrim's darkest and more morbid mysteries. But to unravel this mystery, we must first turn our attention to the focal point of this very video, and no, I'm not talking about top 5 mods that will help you increase your one-handed ability. That being the children's orphanage Honorhall, the only one of its kind throughout Skyrim. Today we are going to be building a case surrounding the orphanage and, more importantly, the heartless wench who runs it, Grelod the Kind, to finally provide an answer to one of Skyrim's darkest mysteries and pieces of unspoken lore. Now, in order for us to start unveiling this case, we must first travel to the northeastern city of Windhelm, otherwise known as the City of Kings, a glorious city overflowing with character and ancient Nord structures that tower above us. Many believe Windhelm to actually be the oldest city of man still standing, first erected within the Mytheric era.
That's what she said!
And it's here you begin to hear whispers slowly flooding these cobblestone street corners. Psst. I heard Dom's body pillow can now stand. No, not that one. But of rumours of Windhelm citizens overhearing a young boy crying. Others have said that the boy can be heard performing the dark ritual in order to contact the Dark Brotherhood. Highly disturbed by this, most of the city folk have agreed to avoid the household in question, in fear of confronting the boy or the Brotherhood themselves. That is, until you have reached the Arentino family home for yourself, as you can find just beyond yonder a Dunmer woman and a young boy discussing these potentially harrowing rumors.
Then it's true, what everyone is saying. That Aventus Arentino is doing the Black Sacrament, trying to summon the Dark Brotherhood?
Oh, Grimvar. Always with the nonsense. No, of course not. Those are just tales.
Fine. Then I'll invite him out to play. He lives right there. I'm going to knock on his door.
No, child. Wait! That boy, that house, they are cursed.
Ha! Then I'm right. I knew it. He's trying to have somebody killed.
All right. I won't deny it, child. What you heard is true. But Aventus Arentino walks a dark path. His actions can lead only to ruin. Now, enough. We will speak no more of this. I am the only friend you need.
Once we have witnessed the clear fear that resides within the city's heart, we'll approach the family home and cautiously enter. As we slowly descend further into this desolate and vacant home, we'll begin to hear,
Sweet mother, send your child unto me, for the sins of the unworthy must be baptized in blood and fear.
So amongst the disturbing scene laid out before us, we do indeed find the young lad Aventus Arentino performing the Black Sacrament in an effort to contact the Dark Brotherhood. Now it's worth noting that you don't actually need to be a part of the Dark Brotherhood to initiate this quest, as by merely showing up to Aventus's home, he'll believe that we are an active member of the Brotherhood. He'll then go on to explain that Aventus is actually a runaway from Honorhall Orphanage in Riften, as he was forced to live there until he became of age after his mother recently passed away from a long illness, leaving him parentless. Aventus proceeds to recall the brutal beatings and mistreatment that he and the other children experience within Honorhall Orphanage daily, and as a result he has now called upon the help of the Dark Brotherhood to assassinate the headmistress Grelod the Kind. Now before we leave, there are a few details here that I do find curious, the first of which being Aventus's upbringing. Now, we know the boy's mother Nalia died of a slow illness, although it is not known what happened to her body after she had passed away, as if you go throughout the city and search throughout the city's Hall of the Dead or any of the various graveyards around the city, there is no tombstone or burial site for Nalia Arentino. Now, I know this may sound morbid, but this could explain how Aventus had access to an adult-sized skeleton. I mean, how many 10-year-olds do you know that can physically dig up a gravesite and transport a corpse into a household without being noticed by the city guard? Not many. While there is no concrete evidence that the skeleton we see here is in fact the mother, but connecting all the dots of how these remains came to be here, it's honestly the most tragic yet most believable explanation we have as to how this adult-sized skeleton came to be here. So with our new contract in mind, it's time to travel back to Riften and uncover the shocking secrets that lie within Honorhall Orphanage. Starting off, upon entering the orphanage, we'll find Grelod addressing all of the children in a horrendous manner.
Those who shirk their duties will get an extra beating. Do I make myself clear?
Yes,
Grelod.
And one more thing. I will hear no more talk of adoptions. None of you riffraff is getting adopted, ever. Nobody needs you. Nobody wants you. That, my darlings, is why you're here. Why you will always be here. Until the day you come of age and get thrown into that wide, horrible world. Now, what do you all say?
We love you, Grelod. Thank you for your kindness.
That's better. Now scurry off, my little gutter snipes.
Now, interestingly, you'll hear after Grelod has finished belittling the kids, the children in response will say,
We love you, Grelod. Thank you for your kindness.
Which is actually a reference to the 1982 film Annie, in where Annie and the other orphans were forced to say after being scolded, "We love you, Miss Hannigan." So it's clear that Grelod the Kind is indeed influenced and designed after this Miss Hannigan. But believe me when I say that this bitch has literally been designed to be the most hated / most unlikable person within the entirety of Skyrim. I mean, possibly even over...
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you do.
Bloody fuck you! That was quite something.
And the more we dig into her actions, the more morbid things become. As not only does Grelod slander the children, she also beats them constantly, as we have overheard within her speech she gave to the children.
Although now it seems that things have kind of gone from bad to... yeah.
As Grelod's hatred towards the children has become dangerously heinous, now that Aventus has escaped the orphanage. As two of the children, Raw and Runa, both admit that Grelod's beatings have gone so far that they now fear for their very lives.
Please, mister, you gotta get me out of here. Ever since Aventus left, Grelod's been even meaner than usual. I swear, she's gonna kill one of us.
I'm really afraid of Grelod. When Aventus escaped, she was so mad. I got double the beatings that day.
Not only this, but if you interact with Grelod and tell her that Aventus sent you, she'll confirm the abuse and threatening behavior herself by saying,
Arentino? Why, that little bastard. You tell him I'm coming for him, and when I find him, it'll be the beating of his miserable life.
Not only did Grelod abuse the children verbally and physically, but she also would torture these innocent orphans, because just beyond the children's bedside, you'll come across a locked door that leads into a horrific scene and insight into these kids' daily lives. A torture chamber. Yes, that's right, a torture chamber, where Grelod would shackle these children and beat them and lock them in and leave them to starve.
Although it may seem that this room may have also been used for... I'm joking, but
Would you? Did you?
Not only this, but we can find a few lone buckets surrounding this claustrophobic chamber, which I think we can all assume were used for the children to defecate in. And oh, upon closer inspection, it seems we were right. On top of all of this, you can discover by speaking to Raw that Grelod only feeds the children once a day. So not only are these children being beaten, abused, but they are also purposely being malnourished. Not only has her cruelty landed her the nickname Grelod the Kind, but the children also actually believe that she is in fact half Hagraven.
Well, she's a terrible old crone. No person could be that cruel. I think she's part Hagraven. She only lets us out in the yard once, in the morning. And she just stands there watching us. Like I said, Hagraven.
Although there is indeed evidence of Hagraven's crossbreeding with Forsworn, I do believe this connection towards Grelod being part Hagraven purely comes as a result of her cruelty. Although the witch can be seen stirring a cauldron in the middle of the orphanage, and with a child's imagination, it's clearly understandable that a child would naturally associate her with
A demon!
now for some of you out there, discovering this may already make you want to, how do I say this,
But before we do so, there are a lot more morbid secrets to uncover. Now, the majority of these morbid insights play out whilst Grelod is speaking to her assistant, Constance.
Constance!
Yes, Grelod.
We haven't had an adoption in months. At this rate, we'll be stuck with these brats forever. We need to get the word out. A sale, if need be.
I'll handle it. No need to blow things out of proportion.
So within that first exchange of conversation, we can discover that Grelod has no intentions of ever letting the children be put up for adoption, but instead she plans on selling them. This is in its simplest form human trafficking, taking in desperate and vulnerable children and abusing them, belittling them, malnourishing them, and then selling them to the highest bidder. Furthermore, Grelod isn't just a child abuser, torturer, trafficker, but it also seems she may be somewhat of a racist too, as if we travel to her private quarters, sat beside her bed lies a copy of The Pig Children, a vulgar and intolerant book that depicts the Ozma in a bigoted manner, a book that has made appearances in every single Elder Scrolls title since the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall. Within her room, we can also find that Grelod sleeps with several knives, carefully placed around her room. This may be because Grelod is indeed aware that the townfolk know exactly how she treats and punishes these children. This also explains why Grelod nor allows the children to ever leave the Honorhall Orphanage. But now, the hour is at hand. Slowly draw your weapon and prepare for sweet, sweet vengeance. Now, interestingly, Grelod has overall about 2 health points.
So it's not actually that necessary for you to deal that much damage. Reveal yourself to me, demon!
Destroy the child.
Fuck you, asshole.
More blood!
Although, if you didn't want to get your hands dirty, there is another way. By casting Fury on Constance, this will send her into a manic episode, and as a result, she will in fact kill Grelod herself, unloading all of her pent-up anger and disdain for her behavior and abuse towards the children. Now, interestingly, Grelod is the only citizen that you can gain no bounty for killing. This further proves the town's hatred and disdain for her despicable and abusive behavior. Also, fun fact, if you are
So we finally meet.
vampire, Grelod is the only character you can feed upon without receiving any form of bounty. This is portrayed within a piece of dialogue as the town guards approach you after her death, saying,
"That old woman who runs the orphanage has been murdered. Say, didn't I see you coming out of there?"
No, dude, it wasn't me. I was in medbay. Now, the reason we've covered all of these unique interactions is because it's all been for the purpose of building up a case for this exact moment. As by casting fear on Grelod, something interesting happens. Grelod, in a blind terror, will actually for the first time run away from the player character and actually leave Honorhall Orphanage. As she sprints frantically throughout these busy streets of Riften, unaware, Grelod will actually attract the attention of Edda, a local homeless woman. Furthermore, as Edda spots Grelod, Edda will proceed to chase after Grelod, and once she catches up to her, she will in fact kill her on sight. And there it is, the big question of the day: why? Why would Edda kill Grelod? What is the real reason Edda turns hostile towards Grelod as soon as she sees her throughout the streets? What could Grelod have done to Edda? Now, to answer this, we must dive into just who Edda is and how she came to be here in Riften. Well, Edda is one of Riften's poorest citizens, taking refuge in the only place she deems fit, within the dark and dank catacombs of the city, littered with bottles of skooma, old scraps of food, and nothing but the cold, inhospitable cobblestone floor to lay her weary head. Now, maybe people playing Skyrim would just pass Edda off as a crazy homeless woman, but after speaking with her, there is a piece of dialogue that suggests that Edda hadn't arrived at Riften by herself.
No one cares about us. No one. We could die and no one would ever even know. They'd just throw our corpses in the canal.
Again, she says no one cares about us, and we could die here and no one would care. It comes across as if she is speaking from experience, or that she has witnessed these cold-blooded murders. As well as this, if we speak to the other homeless gentleman, he states that perhaps it's a good thing that Grelod stays inebriated, considering everything she has gone through. Now, Edda is in fact accurate with the dead bodies being disposed within the city's canal system, because just outside of Beggar's Row, where Edda sleeps and stays, an adult skeleton can be found decaying underneath the city's knowing eye. So it seems that the city's law enforcement is turning a blind eye on murder, or just people passing away and throwing them into the city without giving them a proper burial. But it still doesn't answer the question of why. Why would Edda be the only person to engage with Grelod outside of the orphanage and kill her on sight? Well, what if Edda didn't come to Riften to stay here, but she came with a child she could no longer take care of due to her being homeless? And as we know with Aventus, children who are unable to take care of themselves or are parentless up until the age of 16 are by order of the Jarl sent to the only orphanage left in Skyrim. And as a desperate mother, Edda believes that Honorhall is the only place in where her daughter may find a better chance at life. Or so she thought. Continuing on, if we search the outskirts of Riften, hidden amongst the beautiful calming waters of Lake Onrich, we can find a small and discreet sewer tunnel. Upon entering this dark and uninviting cavern, mere meters away from us, we'll discover within the putrid matter of Riften's sewage, a lone skull just silently floating there, still and untouched. Now, this is the only human remains seen within the entirety of this area. But I hear you say, Dom, how does this lone skull have any connection to the orphanage, or why Edda killed Grelod? Well, not only can we find this lone skull, but it's what we can find within the same area that speaks volumes. Because not only can we discover a lone skull, but beyond this area, we can discover a wooden sword to accompany this. Now, for all of you who are unaware, wooden swords are, by their definition, given to children within Skyrim as a toy/gift to an orphan or adopted child. Once again, an orphaned or adopted child. So to whomever this wooden sword belonged to must have, by an in-game lore definition, come from Honorhall Orphanage, as not only is Honorhall the only local orphanage, but the only one of its kind within Skyrim. This item can also be seen equipped by Nelkir, son of Bolgrif, Jarl Bolgrif, as it is common knowledge that Nelkir is in fact the Jarl's adopted son, and by a lore definition carries around the wooden blade as a gift and token of his adoption. But it doesn't end there, no, as if we continue through this area, we'll find hidden within a chest submerged underneath the local water waste 2 striking pieces of evidence. Firstly, we can find a child's doll. Again, much like the wooden sword, the doll is given to children around Skyrim as gifts or tokens of adoption. But if all of this wasn't enough for you, the lone skull, the wooden sword, and now the child's doll, all left here to rot away and be forgotten. But lastly, buried within this concealed and secluded area, lays a small young girl's red dress. And there it is, as clear as day. A young girl was clearly brought here or disposed of, along with any trace of her and her belongings. And herein lies the answer to our question. Why would Edda kill Grelod as soon as she saw her outside of Honorhall Orphanage? Well, it's because Edda came to Riften to bring her only daughter to Skyrim's only orphanage for a chance of a better life. But with Grelod's cruel and abusive behavior, it's likely that whilst the child was being beaten or abused or tortured, that in her rage, Grelod killed the young girl, much like she had threatened to do so towards the other children after Aventus had run away. And so the children all know that she is capable of murder, and that's why they now fear for their very lives.
Please, mister, you gotta get me out of here. Ever since Aventus left, Grelod's been even meaner than usual. I swear, she's gonna kill one of us.
And in the dead of night disposed of the young child's remains and belongings here within the canal tunnel. But the overall cherry on top of this murder mystery is the location of the very crime scene, as the location in where these remains can be found lays directly below Honorhall Orphanage. That's right, this dungeon exists within the same building structure as the orphanage itself. We also know this because Grelod threatens to throw Runa into the same dungeon.
Constance!
Yes, Grelod.
7 septums are missing from my purse. I know it was Runa. You get those coins back, or by Stendar, I'll see her rot in the dungeon.
So with all of the evidence, the lone skull, the wooden sword that's only given to adopted or orphaned children, the child's doll, the little girl's red dress, and the actual location of the murder scene built directly underneath the wicked orphanage itself, all of this points towards the truth, and that is that Grelod the Kind killed Edda's only daughter, and this is the exact reason why Edda, upon seeing her, kills Grelod on sight. Now you may be asking, well, if Grelod never left the orphanage, how does Edda know that her daughter had been killed? Well, that's actually quite simple, because while speaking to Samuel, he states that he sneaks out of the orphanage on multiple occasions to, quote, earn a living. And it's likely that word got out about her daughter, and is likely the reason why the townsfolk know about Grelod's abusive and threatening behavior towards the children, which landed her the nickname Grelod the Kind. So much like Google Stadia's first-party companies, this case is closed. Lastly, once the deed is done, Aventus will actually return to the orphanage and continue to live there with Constance and the others until he has turned 16. But when you speak to him, he'll reveal to you that once he has become of age, he wants to become an assassin himself so that he can help children in need. Now, just to throw in a bit of speculation into the mix,
and no, I don't mean this totally legit Starfield image.
but I believe it is possible we may see Aventus return within the Elder Scrolls 6, seeing as Aventus has no real family left in Skyrim, and so there is nothing really keeping him here after he becomes of age. And the fact that he wants to train as an assassin with most likely the Dark Brotherhood, and the fact that Aventus already as a child is knowledgeable to a certain extent on the Brotherhood's traditions and rules. I mean, how many 10-year-olds in Skyrim know how to contact the Night Mother herself, and actually succeed in doing so? Surely the Night Mother will remember the young boy who was prepared to make an offering for the Void at such a young age, and then wishes to devote his life towards the Brotherhood. Not only this, but these sorts of things aren't that uncommon for Bethesda Game Studios titles, with several returning characters appearing in Fallout 4, like MacCready, Maxon, and Dr. Lee, characters that all first appeared within Fallout 3, but then returned to play a much more prominent role within Fallout 4. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Aventus Arentino return within the Elder Scrolls 6 as a member or a leader of the Dark Brotherhood. And so that is all of my findings regarding the harrowing mysteries surrounding Riften's Honorhall Orphanage, and honestly one of Skyrim's darkest pieces of unsolved lore. But I hope you have enjoyed this video and learned something new regarding Skyrim. It honestly feels so good to finally be creating the show that I've always wanted to make, so I really do hope you have enjoyed it. But hey, what do you guys think? Is Grelod the Kind the worst person in Skyrim? Or maybe Nazzem? Let me know in the comments down below. Best ones get featured in the credits of these videos, and until next time, please stand by.